Welcome to the Unlock Wellness Podcast. I'm Dr. Casey. Really excited for today's guest. I'm here with KJ Myers. KJ played football at West Virginia University. I also graduated from WVU, which is a huge reason why I love what he's doing even more. When playing football, KJ had a low point in his life. Instead of letting this low point really drag him down to someone that he knew that he wasn't supposed to be, he flipped it around and made a decision that he was going to make a positive impact on everyone around him. So he decided to create a brand that promoted a culture of lack of worries, just letting go and letting God. His brand is called Low Life, which means lack of worries, living in fearless efforts. I'm excited for him to share his story in even more detail and everything that he's doing to make a positive impact, especially for young athletes. But KJ, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so do you just want to just jump in with some of your background, like, where you grew up and, did you always play football and like what led you to West Virginia?
Okay. Well, yes, growing up from middle school to high school is my main years, which is where I spent in Jacksonville, Florida. And growing up, I played baseball and football. Those were my main two sports. And other than that, I skateboarded, I did music, and played basketball for fun and used to love drawing. But when I got to high school, I had to make a decision and only continue with two sports. So I chose baseball and football, which is what I balanced all throughout high school. And after my 11th grade season of football, I was actually going to baseball practice. And then my coach called me and he said, get here quick. I don't know what you're doing. Get to my office. I have a guy from West Virginia on the phone. He wants to offer you a full ride scholarship.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely awesome because just being picked out of the litter, out of your teammates and just everybody else in the city and other athletes is a huge blessing. I'm definitely thankful for that. And it was so unexpected. And so West Virginia was the first team to offer me. And a part of the recruiting process, it was a lot of Florida athletes that was going to West Virginia, already at West Virginia. So that really helped with my decision. And then I had a couple of players that was already there who I actually grew up watching, like Noel Devine. I played Pop Warner with him down in Fort Myers when I was living down there. So he was really a huge influence, and amongst other players.
Yeah, that's cool. And that is awesome that you had a lot of people from Florida going just to make it seem a little bit more like home, because I mean it's a big move. I've made that move the opposite way.
Right.
But I can't imagine like you were moving that far at an even younger age and then you're putting yourself on, a team it's a lot of pressure.
Right.
Yeah. So what were some of the obstacles that you had being on the team, besides being so far, being so far away from home?
Probably uh, a whole new group of guys. That's a whole new group of friends, having to make new friends or finding some good people to be around and to spend my time around. That was a real big obstacle.
Yeah, because I mean, with like football, it's a lot different than other sports because there's so many people on the team. I mean, I'm sure there's a whole. I mean, you could have probably so many different small groups of friends just because there are so many people like on a football team. It makes it completely different, right?
Definitely, it's a lot of a lot of players. So that was kind of tough, and then not being able to do what I wanted to do in school because of the football schedule. Like
Mm-hmm.
you really can't pick certain majors that you want to do sometimes just because some of the majors require you to attend class at a time when you'll possibly have practice. So you literally can't do that major. Like I wanted to do electrical engineering at a time, but I couldn't. So that's why when people hear like these football players getting like these little, I guess you want to say whack diplomas or degrees, or they're majoring in some whack majors.
Mm-hmm.
That's the big reason why.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
interesting.
is very interesting. That was very troubling to me at the time. And another big thing was in 2013. That's when this idea of low life came to me. And I don't know if you know or if anyone who listens will know, but NCAA policies, they don't allow you to have a business. They don't allow you to own your own business, to have your face on your own business or anything like that. So from 2013 up to up to the beginning of 2016, when we played in the Cactus Bowl, which was my last game that January, that's when I was able to start selling things and actually really start doing my business aspect of it all.
Yeah, that's crazy that you're not allowed to do that because I mean, I don't see the difference in that and like if because I mean you're allowed to have a job technically, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so
are.
that doesn't really make sense. But yeah, just to backtrack a little bit though, into low life and into your business. So, what was because I know that in a lot of things that I've read about you, KJ, it's you had that low point. So if you wanted to kind of talk about kind of what was that tipping point to you to where you had to make a change, and then what really led to creating this culture that you're creating.
A lot of people don't know my story. When I first got there, we've had played in the Orange Bowl, and then after we won that huge game, obviously, Coach Stu,
Hmm.
that old head coach, he had passed away. So then Hogerson stepped up, and then after that, a lot of the coaching staff left. So a lot of the coaches that came and sat in at my home during the recruiting process while I was in high school, the coaches that met my parents, the coaches that I knew, the system that I was coming into, those coaches left and the system changed. So that was a huge, I don't know if I want to say like wake up call or awakening or just like just something very different that I wasn't expecting, and how a lot of people would warn you about certain things
Hmm.
before you go to school, like politics or just how college football is such a business and it's all revolving around money, and that's the mindset you have to have. I woke up to that finally. So 2013, I woke up to all that because football wasn't going the way I had planned, actually. So that that weighed the biggest toll on me. And then just being in school, and because I at the time, my just body language, my mentality, it was off. It never been like that in my life ever. And I honestly feel like it's because I was finally out on my own. I wasn't under the comfort of my two parents that I lived with all my life. I was 12 hours away from them, 12 hours away from my, like, who I would say my real friends and just family, and didn't really like the lifestyle living. It was totally different from being in a city, Jacksonville, Florida. That was a big difference. And then school too. Like school was still good because I always excelled in school, like excelled. So school was never nothing to me. I wasn't going to allow myself to waste time with school as far as like failing classes or just wasting time with that. So that's how I got through school and received my degree and a minor within 5 years.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so I had to come out on top after everything. But yeah, that stuff really played a toll. I think just the football aspect of it and me waking up to the business side of it, and because after I woke up, I fell. So I fell because I was finally out on my own, like usually in the comfort of my parents. So I'm out on my own now, finally growing up to be a man. And I fell, hit that low point, and then a voice came to me. A voice told me low life, lack of worries. And that's all it was at first. There wasn't no acronym for life and there wasn't no red balloon.
Hmm.
I literally started working on my mentality, which is what lack of worries is. It's the mentality part. So refocusing every day, all through the workouts, all through class, all through practice, was just really telling myself lack of worries, do all this, lack of worries, lack of worries. And then after I finally mastered the mentality, then the actions part had to follow because actions follow after you get your mind right.
Right.
And the action side of it is the life acronym, which is living in fearless efforts. So I finally figured out the life acronym, and then I started working on my physical aspect. and my body language after I got my mentality right. And then I finally got that right, got that back up to par. And then next thing you know, the idea of the balloon comes to me. The balloon is red, red symbolizing love, and the balloon just symbolizing letting go. And that was definitely letting go of everything that I just overcame. So everything I just worked so hard to get back better from when I was working on my mentality and my actions.
Hmm.
So I was letting go of everything that forced me to get to that point, to that low point. Letting go of any just doubts, fear, worry, insecurities, pain, tears, anything that was slowing down my life process. I was just letting it go, and I was told myself I was gonna just keep living, and it's a blessing to be living. So that's the little background and the main premise.
Yeah, and just like, I mean, that's cool, and just kind of like letting go of you went into playing college football because you had an expectation for
Yeah,
your football career, and it kind of took another turn. But I
yeah.
mean, but that it did end up being a blessing for you, and because of that, you're making a larger impact on other
Way,
people.
way, way larger than I could ever do on a football field or in a helmet.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about how, so after you develop this mentality, you've kind of created this brand in your head where you're, kind of centering everything about not worrying and putting everything into God's hands. Like, how did you start to start to kind of implement this within the locker room? Because it's kind of started, the mentality started, and these thoughts started while you were still in the teams. And I know, like, there was a few other players that kind of jumped on board with you, like just with creating this culture. So how did you introduce it to your team and kind of let them know, like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and this is, I'm changing because of this?
Yeah, well, with me, I don't talk much
Hmm.
at all. So I really live by example, and people see how I'm living, and they can actually feel how I'm living. That's how I was feeling. And just so my family and friends that was on the team, they really adapted first because they care about me, and they seen how much it meant to me. And once they started adding it to their life, because I never wanted to change no one's life. That's why I wasn't really telling people or saying, "Oh, you need to live this way," or just
Right.
preaching to somebody. That was just being an example for them, so I can inspire them to inspire themselves,
Yeah. Just, I mean, just living by example, and
living by example. And then I finally I ordered the first bands, so that was my first product.
the wristbands.
The wristbands. Yeah,
Yeah.
the wristbands. I don't know what made me do this. Well, I know God was just steering me because He's been honestly guiding me and just guiding me throughout this whole way when I'm thinking everything is just all bad and everything just turns out all good and I just end up on top of everything. I beat that system
Hmm.
and now I'm doing way better than I ever could imagine. So I'm very thankful for God for just allowing me to keep going when I'm thinking my life is going down. But so I bought the bands, and after they started seeing the bands, they wanted one.
Right. Started getting more conversation and asking
Yeah,
questions, and
definitely.
yeah,
And
that's cool. So the bands are the first thing, and then so what's cool about what your brand, KJ, is like when somebody thinks of the term low life. I mean that's usually a pretty negative thing. Like if you're a low life, that's a negative
yeah,
label. So it's cool because you've created a positive thing from this negative label, which is kind of the point that you're trying to make with this creating this whole brand, right?
right. And that's the thing because I honestly at that point of my life in 2013 when I hit that low point, people probably could have considered me a low life, just the way my mentality was and how my body language was. So that was a big reason for that name, low life. And but that's when I added lack of worries and I started to evolve from that low point, from that low life. And now I'm a low life living with lack of worries. And now I'm living in fearless efforts. Now I'm letting things go. So now I'm just this total just opposite of what people have in their mind of a low life.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I mean, I know you said you started it and you were just staying really quiet with it and just, living by example. But was like kind of midway through that, that process as you're, figuring this out, like, did you have a vision of where it could possibly go? Or was it just, I mean, everything just kind of built gradually? Was there a time where you were like, well, I could actually do something with this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it definitely built it gradually.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely built it. Like I was honestly just doing things and just going with it, and just made sure I was just sticking to it. So it was tough because the whole business side, because I have a minor in business. So once I started getting into those business courses and just like seeing all this stuff that I can possibly do with this after football, it really opened my eyes. And that's when I started. There's this thing called the Launch Lab at West Virginia University. I believe they have it at other schools where they help upcoming entrepreneurs. And if anyone's listening to this and you're in college, I highly suggest for you to use those resources. There's so many resources while you're at college. Like it's so many resources for what you might want to do after your college life. So I'm thankful for the Launch Lab because through them, I was able to start working on my patent for the balloon,
Mm-hmm.
which was major. So after I finally got done and we got all the paperwork and stuff and sent in to what is it, the not the IRS, whatever it's sent to for the trademarks.
Right.
Yeah, so send it in to them, and then like some months after, I was finally done with football, completely done with all that, and done with school. Some months after, I received my balloon patent in the mail. And I mean, that's major. That's like Nike getting the swoosh.
Right. Just the moment. I mean, I'm sure like that was a huge like momentum swing for you because now it was real and like football's over and it's doable and like you can really make this brand happen.
Yeah. So that was amazing. I'm glad that came through and fell through.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know you're doing really awesome things just using the platform that you've created for yourself. I mean, you're helping a lot of student athletes too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So like what are the type of things that you're doing for them, like speaking? And I know you put out a lot of content and you show like videos if you go into different parts of town and like handing out your bracelet. So if you want to just kind of touch on the different ways that you're really making a huge impact on young athletes who really need your kind of influence the most at this point in their lives.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my biggest thing I focus on is social media.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people they probably say, "Oh, you need to get out and be out in person a lot and stuff like that." But there's no other way to actually have a positive influence on millions of people
Exactly. No, I
or
agree.
than social media. So that's where my big focus is as far as like just videos and stuff like that. I plan on getting into more videos, speaking on my story and speaking on just the college football lifestyle and the things that might happen, or just tell my story more so people could know like some these athletes can know some possibilities that could actually happen with them, and so they can be prepared and not lose to the system.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest thing. And as far as those bands, everywhere I go and like anyone I probably have an encounter with, I give them a band.
That's
I
awesome.
got a band, and I've been doing that since the beginning, and I don't plan on stopping. That's the one thing that just moves me and makes me so happy is helping someone like that. And then a lot of people give me great feedback, and I'm glad that people are actually buying in and finding the purpose of this lifestyle for their life. Because a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, well, what's the purpose of low life? What's the purpose of it?" And I'm just thinking like, you find your own purpose once you understand just the main premise of it, then you find the purpose for it in your life.
That's awesome. And yeah, and it's cool. It's just the more you reach out and you're passing out these bands, it creates more conversations like that, so people can really look into
Yeah.
what makes them happy and what drives them and what makes what's possible for them.
Yeah.
And a little bit on you. I know you were talking about when you got that patent in the mail, how it was kind of like the Nike swoosh, like you were just super pumped. Like, how much does it blow your mind when you see like bigger athletes, professional athletes wearing your brand? Because I'm sure that's like just completely mind blowing when you see things like
Definitely.
that.
That's definitely mind blowing. And honestly, how I picture it, I'm just thinking like, you have these athletes. A lot of these athletes relate to me. A lot of them. So just in the aspect of I went through the same grind. I made it to a top level. It's only I didn't make it to the NFL or anything, but it's only one more level of football after college football. Well,
Right.
I respectively feel like I made it high. I went through that grind. I know what it's like. I've been on both ends of it. I've been successful in it. I've been not successful in it. I've been in the middle with it. And so that's what I I would hope a lot of these athletes are thinking, because you have brands out here, a lot of these brands that athletes either worship or they're just a part of, that's been out for a long time. And some of these CEOs, in my opinion, probably couldn't care less, and they didn't go through that grind
Hmm.
at all. They probably never went through it at all or anything. So that's why I don't want athletes to respect and be a part and actually push to be a part, but I think that should give them more of a reason too.
Right. Just because I mean, you've lived it firsthand and you know what they're going through,
Yeah,
and your heart's in the right
right.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, and plus, it's when you get those kind of things in the hands of people that have, even more following and even more influence, like they can promote just the goodness of what you're trying to accomplish.
yeah. And I think honestly, a lot of them could use this in with their journey
Yeah. I mean, at any level.
at any level. And that's what is so remarkable, because there's so many like younger youth that's just so with it. Like I went up to my high school yesterday, and the kids was like, "Oh, there's low life, that's low life," and stuff like that, because the JV football team was up there. So I
Hmm.
gave all of them some bands. Some of them had on like three bands on one wrist, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have to give my little brother Chase a shout out because he was actually the one. He's my younger brother's about 13 years younger than me. He's a junior in high school, and he actually introduced me to what you were doing.
Oh wow.
So it's cool that that's growing so much among like him and like his basketball team, and it's just really awesome to see how it spreads.
Yeah, definitely awesome. And for what I would say with the younger generations, um, I get a lot of parents that contact me either by phone or through email after they order something for their children, and
Hmm.
just thank me that I have something that I'm presenting on social media, which is where everyone is spending a lot of their time. Something that's positive for their children to either be influenced by or to just see every day, because I'm consistent with what I'm doing. So like the social media posts and content is coming every day, and the app for the app and stuff is all coming every day. So and I think that's a big thing to recognize, is because social media and the things that's on social media, it has a big influence on the younger generations.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's where they're spending most of their time. So it's, I mean, more than TV, or if they're watching TV during commercials, like that's where their attention is. And if their attention is on something positive and things that are bringing them up and not showing all of these negative things that come along with, I mean, being an athlete or not, it's just, it's really cool to see the impact that can make for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. And I don't want people to think that this is just for athletes. I just haven't been an
Yeah, yeah,
athlete
yeah.
all my life. But what's so powerful about this concept, about this way of living, is that low life, lack of worries, living in fearless efforts, and the balloon symbolizing letting go, that can be applied to anyone in this world still living, and anyone in any aspect of life.
Hmm.
Any aspect of life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so what's in the future for Low Life? Just putting out more content, or do you have things? Do you have other things lined up that you want to share with people?
Well, have some big brand ambassadors. Well, one big brand ambassador, he just recently went first round to Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, his
Awesome.
name is Terrence Ferguson. So if y'all go check him out and stuff like that. But yeah, my main focus every day is just growth. My main focus is growth. I feel like I have just the structure of the brand and the image and just the branding and everything is already there. And now my only focus is just growth. And that's in any aspect. And that's teaming up with other people or partnering up with other people or doing collabs with other people or any way I can grow in a positive way and this brand could grow and just get out there on an even more larger scale because it's already getting a lot of global attention and other countries and stuff are hitting the website or ordering from the website. And so my biggest thing is to grow. And what was real nice with that basketball player, Terrence Ferguson, straight out of high school, he went over to Adelaide, Australia and played professionally for 1 year. So that brought a lot of just exposure to Australia.
That's cool. Yeah, just to get more reach everywhere. That's amazing. I love that. And I'm excited to go follow him as well. I'll put his in the show notes whenever I'm putting your information. Okay. I'll have a little list of resources. I'll put him too so people can go follow what he's doing and what he's doing with Low Life Culture as well.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. So what is the best way for people to follow you on social media and also your website?
Okay, well, my personal page on Instagram and Twitter is I am Low Life KJ. And the Instagram for the culture page is THE, the Low Life Culture. And for the Twitter is LL Culture. And there's also an app for this Lack of Words Living. If you go to your app store and type in Low Life Culture, and that's a space between each word, download the app, turn on the notifications, and also sign up too, because it's kind of like a little social media. Like people be interacting in there, which is really, really nice. The website is lowlifeculture.com. You can find all the gear and just going to be more updates on some player statuses and just more stuff about the brand and learning more about the brand and how you can be a part.
That's cool. And yeah, for you guys that are listening, definitely check out the store and buy some bands or, buy anything that he has up there. And what's also cool about what he's doing is he encourages people on their social media accounts to put a red balloon like on their bio or just anywhere on their profile. And it just shows that you're supporting the Low Life Culture. And KJ, what's been really cool about that too is you see those little red balloons everywhere. Like I swear, I see them on like the most random people's profiles. That's really cool.
Yeah, when actually just when that whole just balloon emoji epidemic.
Well, it was perfect for you.
Yeah, it was so perfect. It's like thank you God, like everything.
Right.
It's
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it was clutch.
Yeah. Yeah. God for the win on the emoji.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, so KJ, just closing question that I ask every guest. But if you could just give the audience just one piece of advice, maybe it was something that helped you along your journey, but if you only had one piece of advice to tell people, what would it be?
Lack of worries.
Lack of worries. I knew that was coming. Lack of worries. But so true.
So true. Definitely.
Awesome. But thank you so much, KJ, for making time to come on. I loved having you, and I'm excited to spread the message that you're trying to put out there and excited to watch your journey.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you loved my conversation with KJ. Please jump on his website, follow him on social media. He's doing amazing work, and I know that you will love the positivity that he's putting out there every single day. So follow him on social media. You can find all of those links in the show notes, but if you go to my website at drkaseyjohnson.com, that's DRKASEY Johnson.com, you can actually click on the listen tab, and from there you can click on the podcast and you'll be able to see all of the past guests that have come on. So you'll be able to see KJ's episode, be able to see all of the links that go directly to his social media accounts, his website. That way everything's in one spot. But like I said, it's also in the show notes. So either way, all of the info is there. But thank you guys so much for checking it out. If you love today's episode with KJ, jump on iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot. And thank you guys so much for listening.